This is the wildly wonderful podcast, Wide Open Spaces with Ilise, aka the Fiery Redhead, where I get raw, edgy, and not so politically correct. You can check me out anywhere you love listening to your favorite podcasts. Please go to all social media, like, love, follow, comment. You can go to wideopenspaceswithilise.com. Ilise is spelled I-L-I-S-E. Now let's listen, let's talk, and let's evolve together. Welcome to episode 189. The title is, Do You Realize the Journey is in the Little Things in Life? Ponder that thought for a moment. I'd like to give a shout out to some of my downloads that have happened all over the world. We will start out with Spain, and I got a lot of downloads from Spain this week, and this was when they had a huge blackout in Spain, no electricity, and yet I still got a lot of downloads. So thank you so much, Spain, Canada, Argentina, and Italy, which I will be spending about 4 nights in Italy this summer, and I am looking forward to spending time there. So thank you so much, and ciao for listening to me at Wide Open Spaces with Ilise. Okay, so the title of this podcast, Do You Realize the Journey is in the Little Things in Life? I'm sure you do have some notion of that. But the reality is, as human nature is, we really don't focus, appreciate, or adore the little things in life as much as we should. And it's really going back to basics. Basics if you think of an infant who's just being able to hold their head up or sit up or crawl. It's the little things that they see that catches their eye. Colors, shapes, a parent's familiar face. These are the things, the simple things that when we were infants or young toddlers, that made us happy, that stimulated us, because we weren't tainted and aren't tainted at that point in life by the world. And so those little sensory stimuli, those little things that attracted our attention, were just enough for entertainment, for laughter, to create the learning mechanism in a baby, to want more of those little things, to hold, to touch, to feel, to smell, to taste. And somewhere along the line, somewhere in our childhood, we lose it. Part of it is due to society. We are a want society, not a need-based society. Even in impoverished countries, there are people who want. Now, I'm guilty. There's a lot of things I want. Most of the things I have are not things that I need. And we're all like that. We lose the focus. Even when we're on limited budgets, there's always that little, I have to have that. I want that, even though you shouldn't be spending that. And so as a society, no matter where we live, we want. We don't need. And in those wants, well, we do need, but focusing on the little things in life, we get away from that with the wants. Now, the needs are things that we instinctually need in our life. Basic nutrition, water, a roof over our head, a warm bed to sleep in, socialization. Those are instinctual things or biological things that we need in our bodies. But what about the little things that happen in our life that just kind of pass us by? Kind of like when you're on a roller coaster or a fast car ride or a train ride or even in a plane, you see everything passing by you so quickly, moving so fast that you really can't stop and focus. I want to leave you with this. There's a magic in life's journey that's not found in the really grand things or big milestones that we set for ourselves. It's in the quiet, those everyday little moments. Maybe it's some laughter you shared with a coworker over a morning coffee. Maybe it's stepping out first thing in the morning and walking to your car or your transportation and just feeling the warmth of the sunlight on your skin. Maybe when you're standing in line to get that coffee, there was a nice, kind interaction with you and a stranger. In these small moments, the details in these moments, there can be the most deep joy and meaning that we can take place in our lives. But a lot of times we don't take in that laughter that we're having with that coworker over coffee, or we don't stop to feel the sun on our face as we step outside, or when we have that interaction. It happens, it's gone, and you probably never think about it again. But what if you really focused on the small details within those life moments? What would actually happen? What would you experience? Today, that's what I want you to do. And this is the goal I want you to set for yourself, is beginning to look at the little things. When we think of the word journey, it makes it sound like it has to be this long, drawn-out process of a life's journey, a divorce journey, being pregnant, raising your children journey, going on a long trip journey. But the journey can be just in that first sip of coffee in the morning. What if you really sat there and everything in every sense was heightened, and you really felt the warmth of the coffee cup in your hand? And as you bring the coffee to your mouth, you see the steam and you feel the heat before you ever put your lips on that cup. The first taste, the warmth, the creaminess. What if you really focused on those things? You'd begin to train your brain that it doesn't have to just take in and focus the global, the grand scale of things, but the small, minimal things can have such beauty and such pleasure. And imagine if you did that throughout your day, how much more your day would be brighter, appreciated, not felt like you ran through the day and your head's back on the pillow just to hear your alarm the next morning. What if? Embracing the beauty of small moments or changing your thought perspective is a very intentional awareness. It's not something we can do automatic because we're trained not to. After we move out of the toddler and infant stage, all of a sudden we're in school and we're learning all these things, these big ideas and big things. And somewhere we change. And we don't have these little things focused on as part of our life. So what are some ways that you can start? Start this enormous task for such a simple thing. Well, the first thing you can do is just pause. Pause in the moments instead of rushing through those tasks, those things you have to get done. Just take a moment to stop, look around you. Maybe you have a book that you've been reading. Feel the cover of the book. Smell the pages of the book. Engulf yourself, not only in the words on the page, but the feelings that reading gives you, the tactile sensation, that the book and the pages and the prints all give you. Maybe it's just sitting. My dad loved doing this, this pause in his presence. He sat under cover outside when it would rain, and he would just sit and listen to the rain. And even if he was in his car going somewhere and he'd park, he'd sit there for a few minutes and listen to the rhythm, the sound of the rain hitting his car on the roof. And for him, it was focusing on that little thing in life that we take for granted. Just the sound, the rhythm of the rain. So having presence, focusing on those things. Next thing you can do for yourself is be grateful. Be grateful for the little joys in your life. Maybe it's just the smell of fresh air after you get out of a long day of work, being cooped up in your office. Maybe you're just walking down the street and you get this smile from a stranger. Or you had a good conversation somewhere during the day. The gratitude part comes where you reminisce and you think about it and you make a mental note of that tiny small moment that happened during your day. It's kind of like a list, a mental list in your mind, helping it kind of sink in. Make it almost like it's written in stone. Because when those little things happen and we don't focus and we just smile at that stranger and we keep walking and we never think about it again, that's because we're always looking at the bigger picture. But what if you thought about that smile, marked that person's face in your mind, and why that smile made you feel good? Now it's imprinted on you. It becomes part of you, that little small moment. When you're doing things another way, is in those small moments, really engage your full self in it. Give it your full attention. Make those small acts just a meaningful experience, not that they're just some little task that you do as part of your day. This one I love, and I talk about it a lot, is finding the beauty in the ordinary things in our world. The sunlight, like I talked about. Maybe how the sun kind of comes through the window and you can kind of see the dust in the air and it's almost like sun streaks coming through the window. That's just the ordinary. It happens every day, but do you ever really focus on it? Do you let yourself for a moment become mesmerized by it? Finding the beauty in the ordinary. This is another great one. We are trained that we are only celebrated when we have those big wins in life. Graduating high school, getting an award at work, getting a promotion. What about the little small wins in life? Those small things that we just don't give ourselves a pat on the back for. Because we know that those big achievements, like graduating high school, take years of work and dedication to get to that point. What if you focused on the little things that you do in your life, that you progress or you grow? And maybe it's just an interaction you had with a friend where you were able just to say no, you didn't want to do something. That's an accomplishment. It's a small win, especially if you're a people pleaser. That little word, N-O, becomes a win for you. So focus on the small wins. The other thing I do personally, a great way to look at these little things in our life, in the journey of the little things, is to create rituals. They can be weekly, daily, yearly. I like daily rituals. It's making meaningful routines, those little rituals that can cause you joy, scattered, peppered throughout your day. Like when you pick up that book later on in the day. Maybe it's a little cozy corner that you find to read that book. Maybe you want to make a playlist of your favorite songs that when you're on your lunch break, you can pop your earbuds and listen to. Or maybe on the way to work or on the way to something that's making you a little stressed out and nervous, that you create this kind of cool playlist. And every day you listen to this playlist. Maybe it's a motivational playlist. Maybe it's just calm flute music. Whatever that playlist is, it is finding the small joy in these things that we can do for ourselves. It's a daily reminder that there is beauty in everything. There is a journey in every small thing. Some really famous and well-known people that talk about the journey and the little things are Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers. If you are as old as me, you know about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. If you're younger, look him up. It was a great children's show that a lot of us watched. But not only that, he made a really big impact on the world, separate from his children's show. They even made a movie about him. And it was because it was the little appreciation that he showed for those simple little things. I mean, every day his show would start and he would look like he came home from work with his jacket and all these things and his shoes. He would take the jacket off. He would put a cozy sweater on. He'd take his work shoes off and put some cozy sneakers on. This was a ritual that he did every day. And it also sent the message to the viewer, no matter how young or old you were, that he was getting comfortable to be your friend because he was your neighbor. And you were going to experience something in these small moments with that neighbor. He talked about meaningful interactions with people and reminding people that kindness is in the small gestures. This is how you can shape the global world and your own personal world. So Fred Rogers was a great one who talked about the journey in the small little things. John Muir, if you've ever been to Muir Woods near San Francisco, where the great big giant redwoods are, that forest is named after him. He was a naturalist, a conservationist, and he felt that the small joys were in nature, the smallest details of nature. The way the leaves would move, the way the wind, the quiet beauty of a mountain stream, the fascination of this water, that snow is melted somewhere up in the mountain and the water comes as it's melted down into this beautiful stream, the sounds, the coolness of the water. For him, the journey was in the small things, in nature, the details. And Maya Angelou, who's very popular to all of us, poet and author, often spoke of power of gratitude, the presence of gratitude, the beauty in everyday human connections. These are the small little things that can create such a beautiful daily life journey. It doesn't have to be those grand journeys that we all hope we experience and we accomplish and mark off our bucket lists, internal journeys, but the small everyday journeys. Be mindful of your day. Look at things in real time. Don't just brush over them. Sometimes you can just reframe your perspective. It may be easy for you to do that. Shift from thinking of life in those big milestones that we talked about, and rather as an accumulation of all those little meaningful small interactions. because every little step matters. It matters, even in the ordinary things of life. And please, don't forget to pause. Take a breath. Take a breather. Like I just did for a second. And in that couple seconds, my body calmed. I noticed the blue paint on my walls, which is called November Skies, and the plaque right across from me that says, "Positivity is powerful." Just in those 3 seconds, stopped to take a breath. And that is what I gained in that small journey, that small little moment. Okay, my friends, how are you going to start your journey in the little things, in the small moments? I gave you an array of ways to incorporate these things into your daily routines, to change your mindset, to make that shift in your brain. But guess what? Unless you actually do it, it's for naught. Don't just talk the talk, walk the walk. You're here listening to me. I'm assuming the title drew you in. Maybe you're a loyal listener or listened to me a couple times. But you're here because you want to learn. You want to change. You want to evolve. That's why we listen and we talk and we evolve together. So guess what? You have a challenge ahead of you to focus on the little things in life. You can do it. I know you can. It just takes the time in your brain shift to stop, identify, and stop the fuck of rushing around everywhere you go without stopping. That's what's so screwed up with this world, is we don't stop. We don't take in the beautiful moments. I was watching a show on TV talking about Spain and the foods and everything in Spain. And this person was being presented with these foods. And what caught my eye is that they had a table outside decorated with small little wildflowers. And about 6 of them were sitting out like at this picnic bench with a cute tablecloth, enjoying this Spanish food. So simplistic, so beautiful, so interesting. Small, but so big. That's where the journey is, in those moments. Not the grand milestones, the small, intimate moments. So the challenge is on, my friends. Are you going to change your life? Are you going to change the journey you're on? And go back to basics. And stop. And breathe. And observe. And take it all in. Thank you for joining me at Wide Open Spaces with Ilise. Remember, positive thoughts always create positive energy. Go out and explore all those wide open spaces in your world. Check out my book online at Barnes & Noble or Amazon, A Wanderlust Within, A Journey to Self-Discovery by Elise Litwin. Remember, some of us get burned by the fire or the flames, and some of us become it. Find that burning fire inside of you, and let's make some positive, healthy changes today. Ciao.